Hello there. It's Mike.
And Katie.
It's episode 183.
The one with Nope.
This week on Cup of Rad. Hey, we're back. We're back at you with a new episode. Pretty exciting, huh? Wow.
I know,
So much happening so quickly.
so many movies.
This week is our look at Jordan Peele's Nope.
Yeah.
But episodes might be coming a little bit more infrequently, not because they haven't already this summer. But I'm actually took on a part-time job. I'm gonna be slinging brewskis at a bar.
At our favorite local bar.
Yeah. I'm serving at Bricklayer 4 days a week right now, and through this summer, so that'll throw a bit of a wrench in things. But hopefully we'll still be able to bring out some pretty awesome content for you.
I'll have to just watch my chick flicks and then come down here and just ramble about those.
Okay, I dare you. A double dog dare you.
You know what? Okay, on that note, I'll just throw in this extra filler stuff here. I did actually watch Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, which I hadn't watched for a really long time, and I thought something a little bit different for it. And it's still just good, funny, ridiculous humor, and it was a nice, cute romance idea. I like the blend of it where it's not the stereotypical romance, and I thought this one it's totally different. It's not a rom-com thing in its standard formula.
Yeah.
All four of their characters have things to learn, and it's such a different situation for it, and they're all kind of, well, except for Zac Efron's the only one that's a decent human being. He's just kind of getting drudged down, but the rest of them, they're all kind of terrible because of other things that are going on. They're not meaning to be that way, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was just super, super fluffy again, and that was fun. So I watched something different that's not my stereotypical old classics that I go back to when I have to watch movies by myself. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. That was Katie's Corner.
Yeah, good on you. Good job. Waiting for applause. Yeah.
Thanks.
No, everyone was applauding.
Everyone was applauding. Yeah. Oh, okay.
I was waiting for it to die down.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't hear. Yeah, I couldn't hear over the wave.
Oh.
The waves of the applause.
You're done.
So we got to check out Nope,
which I was very excited about. I've been looking forward to since we first saw the trailer. I really like Get Out and Us, and the trailer was really interesting because you really had no idea. It was just enough. It was a well done trailer with I don't really know what's going on. Recently there was the next trailer that added a little bit more of the alien feel to it, but it still was I still don't know how it's going to all fit together.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that the trailer didn't give away the movie itself, right? So, but I was very excited for it. So.
Yeah. So quick hit for you, and then if you want, peace out, see the movie, and come back, because we are going to discuss the movie in full
spoilers.
So,
quick overview now.
So, Nope is kind of like Jaws in how it's set up and how it's told, but it is told in such a way that doesn't really feel like Jaws. It feels like something different. It's dry. It is a lot drier than Get Out and Us. It is more of a human piece with superb acting, and it is beautifully blocked and shot. The every frame of this film is interesting to look at, even if the material that is happening is dry, because the way the camera is moving, it felt like art.
Yeah.
And as I said, when we walked out of the movie, I said, well, it was a little boring in parts. But that being said, I never once wanted to look at my phone. I just kept watching the movie. And that was me checking my own, like, we're not watching a big budget, like, popcorn movie.
Yeah.
We're actually watching something else.
Well, and that was the thing, like, because I agreed too, that I felt I could easily say that it was boring, but I never was like, oh my God, when is this movie over?
Yeah.
Or I feel like talking, or my mind was wandering something else. It was not.
No.
I was still engaged though. So it definitely wasn't
So
boring
isn't necessarily like the right word, I guess, for it.
And so it's hard to think that it was still, I never wished that I wasn't there. I'm still happy I saw it, and I would still say I would watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't want to say boring in a bad context, but it was more of just like the reminder that we don't see a lot of this style of film anymore.
Yeah.
That, you know, that everything else it was almost like, oh, it's kind of slowed down and I'm not being in sensory overload.
Yeah.
So therefore I feel like something is wrong.
Yeah.
But it's not really wrong. It's okay. It's just different than what I've been like trained to do
with film. Yeah.
So I thought that was a really interesting way to just think about that. It was interesting that we both felt that way too.
Yeah.
So,
and so like the last episode I talked about how there was a couple movies that were going to be in my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
This here, right at the bat, this will be in the top 5.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be anything this year that will usurp this for its creative flow.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so beautiful to look at.
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah, it's a marvel. Like I said to you too, I don't care who you are, like you have to agree that every one of Jordan Peele's movies are beautifully shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has learned a way to move the camera differently that harkens back to like a Spielberg or Scorsese, like, but bringing it almost forward to new technology,
mm-hmm.
right? Without being too flashy.
Yeah.
Right. The eye is very much in the viewer's perspective,
mm-hmm.
without being zany.
Yes.
And
it's slow or moved fast depending on what needs to be. It's not ever like all the same thing.
Yeah.
Or generally it's slower.
It's slower pans, but it also, the focus isn't necessarily on what is always there. So this film, Nope, was definitely one where you had to use your eyes in it, but also they did things with sound.
Yes.
That you were having to listen.
Yeah.
Because the shots weren't showing you what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
The sound was telling you what was happening.
Yeah.
And I felt
definitely enveloped into everything.
Yeah.
Right?
And I felt that was just a masterclass in filmmaking, because it took me back to like that feeling of seeing Jaws,
mm-hmm.
right? Where it was just like, you're in awe of what is happening, mm-hmm. and you're watching this spectacle unfold with the characters in real time, wondering how it's all going to happen.
Well, and also even still with that though, I mean, you have something they're fighting up against, and it's still a human story as well. Mm-hmm. And it's more of how they interact and how it unfolds with that, how they deal with a crisis, how they handle all that type of stuff. And that's what this is all about, right? It's just how they handle things and the other characters that get involved because of things. And definitely a human story for sure.
So I highly recommend seeing it if you haven't seen it.
And definitely see it in theaters if you can.
Yeah, the biggest screen possible.
It was gorgeous to watch. It would help you with the envelope and that sound for sure. Because it's such an important part.
Yeah, it's definitely one that needs a surround experience. Yeah. Because the sound did come from all around in some scenes. Yeah. Like it was something that we haven't, like, because when there's moments of screaming and it was decipherable to hear it around you. Mm-hmm. And that I feel like the last few movies
The surround sound wasn't
really there. Like,
yeah.
Say Thor: Love and Thunder. There wasn't any surround sound. I never felt like it was surrounding me. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea that I haven't really felt like that for a while.
Enveloped.
Because, a lot of the times, if that's the case, other than, say, Maverick, maybe, it might have been more like that, but it was mainly because it was just a large amount of sound, like the jets or something.
Yeah.
That would probably have been the last one where we actually would have had a bit more.
But there were, yeah.
But you never, because then you would have possibly had them flying across the screen, right? So you would have it traveling a little bit. But that doesn't have the same enveloped aspect. Yeah. Because it's not really adding to the story.
Because, that idea where you're like hearing things in different speakers. Like, where...
Really, it's more of just a wall of sound coming at you more than anything,
versus that whole...
As we said, enveloped it into it and really... really feel involved with the movie, right? Mm-hmm. So thank you for your 10 minutes of joining us with that. Now, if you haven't watched the movie, there is no way we can really talk about it without spoilers. So other than saying this was freaking amazing and go see it, then spoilers ahead, you be warned.
Okay. Here we go.
You had lots of time with that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And now spoilers.
Well, where do you want to go with this? Okay, right at the bat though.
It's just gonna go in all directions. Now we have free reign. We're just gonna go crazy.
Right off the bat though, the opening scene, I had the what the fuck?
I was like, what movie are we watching?
So the movie actually has an Oppenheimer special trailer for Christopher Nolan.
Which was very confusing.
So it's the full Universal logo.
And
it's
the
not
lights
the trailer
went full
logo.
dark.
Yeah. So it started with Oppenheimer. I was like, well, that's kind of weird, right? And so it's like a secret trailer was on the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And then they did all the stuff again, and they did the monkey paw logo. So we're like, okay, we're watching the right movie. But then it started with a chimpanzee coated in blood. And I was just like, what the...
And you could tell it was on a TV, like a set. And there was someone...
It was a low camera angle. Dead. Yeah. And
we're just like, what?
And then it just stares at you.
It's totally unnerving.
It stares you down. Like, I felt like the chimpanzee was looking at me.
Yep.
And then it cuts to black.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wait, what? It was the weirdest way to start the movie.
Yeah.
Right? But it
will set the tone of the unnerved right away. Yeah. That's for sure.
Right? So it deals with the idea of they're horse trainers.
Yeah.
And they've been horse trainers forever.
Speaking of horses, we have horses upstairs running back and forth right now. The cats are chasing each other.
In the Hollywood industry, right? Yeah. They're like the first...
So they're related to the original... jockey that was in the first pictures that were used to make the first motion picture.
Yeah.
So they...
A 2-second clip.
Yeah. So they basically claim the original, first actor, basically, right?
So, but you find out, I'm trying to even know where to go with it.
Because we're talking about spoilers here, it starts off with something pretty horrific. So... Keith David, we're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know he was in this. And you hear his voice and you're just like, oh, this is going to be amazing. But how is he in this?
Yeah.
And so he's the main character's father, and he's the one that runs this ranch, right? And so they hear all this weird sound from the sky, and things start...
Well, it sounds like stuff's falling, right?
Yeah, and it sounds like it's raining, but it's like metal sounding stuff, and things are kind of flying down. And a coin went through his head.
Yeah.
And killed him. And it's that, holy shit, metal could rain from the sky and just kill you one day. That was really scary.
Mm-hmm. Well, then there was a key in the horse's ass.
Yeah.
Right?
And so all this stuff, they had claimed that a private plane had dropped something. How the hell does that happen? Right. And so then it starts out with him dying, and then it jumps to 6 months later, and the chaos that ensues when he was the one that ran everything, and now his son OJ is doing it instead. Mm-hmm. And
he's more of the ranch hand feel, less of the actual people person.
Yes, he's very much the animal handler. He knows them. He takes care of them. He does everything in the ranch. His sister has much more charisma and can talk to people, but she could care less about that.
Yeah.
The business, right? And so yeah, just weird stuff starts happening, and they're realizing then they have a UFO or UHP or something, which I like that whole conversation because now I wanted to look it up and see what it was.
Can't remember.
I'm pretty easy enough, I'm sure, to find it. But what appears to be a ship flying around.
Yeah.
And causing almost like an EMP.
Yeah,
type disturbance.
All their power goes out.
Because it's not a pulse. It's like a field, an EMP field more than anything.
Yeah, like it was like a blackout.
Yeah, because it's just taking batteries as well, right? So it's not just like cutting signal or something like that, right? And so their idea, they want to try to, of course, capture it on film and try to make some money because they're having to sell horses off and everything like that. So then they bring the Fry's tech in, who helps install their security cameras. So he was quite a character to have in there. At first I thought he was going to be maybe a little bit more obnoxious, but he was a good humor relief. He was an enjoyable character to have in there because he believed in the conspiracy of aliens, but also was very legitimately terrified when things were going down, right? So
yeah, it's one of those ones where like so much happens, but it's all very quiet, right? So like they said, so the scene that there's one scare in it that really took you for a loop.
I wanted to crawl and I was freaking terrified. I realized I was clamped down pretty hard on your arm there, and I was just like, I gotta let this go, and I was just trying to climb back in my seat here. So OJ realized that the lights and everything could come on in the barn, the stable there.
Yeah.
And so he goes in there and he turns the lights off, and they come back on, and like you could hear the switch move and everything like that, like clink. And he turns and he's looking back over there, and he's in himself. But the actor, he plays he's so good at what he does, but he's very calm and very quiet. So that character is just already very calm and just curious looking. Like he's always just looking. Oh my God. All of a sudden. So they already think that there's aliens. Oh, this is already going on now. And they're talking about all the different, like the Fry guy is talking about all the different little green men and everything with big eyes. And this little character starts moving out of the shadows. Yeah. In the barn. And he starts.
And this is probably the creepiest part of the movie.
Yeah. And he starts walking towards him, and then more pop out of the shadows and hanging from things. And it's this little alien guy, and they're short, maybe 4 feet tall type thing. And you got the big eyes and this kind of stereotypical alien look to thing, and the way they're moving and everything. Holy shit. It was so terrifying because they would just pop in and and then he went around the corner and it stopped. And then you're just waiting for it to peek around the corner. It slowly peeks around the corner. And it was just so well done and so creepy.
And this is where I said the shots come in. Because, he'd had it originally where you didn't see anything, and then you just saw the shadow start growing, and then the white head kind of appears.
Oh, I fucking lost it.
Right? And then even on that, they went from he's got out his phone and he's waiting for them to come around the corner. Well, then once it starts coming out, then it goes down towards his phone to see the phone's perspective. And so then you're seeing
it, out of the phone, and then you see this little white head pop around the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Heebie-jeebies just talking about it. And then all of a sudden, all of the fear goes away because it's the kids in these costumes.
Yeah, from the local theme park.
Yeah.
Kind of amusement park
it was a prank because they actually stole a fake horse from over there.
Yeah.
And so it was a prank back at them for it. And so it was all these kids in these alien costumes. And all of a sudden I was like, okay. So I was so freaked out for nothing. And it's like, it totally got me going. And then like, okay, well, is something like this actually going to happen again? Or is it like, what was that, you know?
Was this the thing to make him not believe when something shows up again? Is this the foreshadowing for that?
Right?
That's like, what it felt like.
Yeah. So it was really well done though, because it just immediately went from like full bore terrifying to, oh, okay, that was nothing. Right. Never mind. Like, we're totally fine. It's not like he even got away with it or they disappeared or something. It was like, no, it was just people in mass. Yeah. And so going back to then the start of that opening scene with the chimpanzee, you know, death chimpanzee, the person that actually runs the nearby like Western theme park type thing that they're selling they sold a horse to, was actually the childhood star that was in that episode, that TV show with the chimpanzee. And so you find out that he was actually there on set and watched everyone get slaughtered. And so in that opening scene, when he's staring at you, he's staring at that kid. Yeah. And
well, as the movie progresses, you start seeing more and more of that scene. Yeah. Right. And like, that was another one of those shot moments where like there was one moment where the camera is moving in the back of the set, and you're hearing the screams and you're hearing all that, but you're not seeing it. You're just the camera's slowly going through
you're just feeling this terrifying of what's going on there.
And then like the camera moves around, and then it cuts to another, and then it's later on, then it goes more to his perspective. And you know, so that was just really eerie and like unnerving.
So I mean, by all means, it's not okay whatever had happened with the chimpanzee. I mean, it was murdering people. Yeah. For sure. Something obviously triggered it. But then at the end, it seemed so calm and more of like, well, why don't you get up? Like,
yeah, he comes to the boy.
I'm okay.
So they talked about being like the first like fist explosion.
Yeah. So he's walking towards the boy and he goes to fist bump him. And then
this was so jarring.
Right? And like, I had that moment where
the kid goes to fist bump the chimpanzee.
And it's like, it's so moving. Like, it's so sad that all these people are dead, but something was wrong and the chimpanzee is calm now and he's trying to make friends. And I was like, at first I'm like, okay, well, is he going to trick him? Not the chimpanzee wouldn't trick him. He's not, he can't think like that. And, you know, he's just about to fist bump him. He's going to be okay.
And then you see the chimp's face and then it explodes with a gunshot and there's blood all over the tablecloth and all over the kid's face.
So it's like the entire screen is full of just blood.
Chimp monkey brains.
And it was so jarring. Yeah, it was horrific. So, yeah, that was scary. So what... You know, as things progress, they're learning more and more about this ship that is flying around, and then the big kind of change and shift between the like hidden in the shadows and these clouds, and really propels it forward is the neighboring amusement park there is going to be putting on a live show. Yeah, and you find out that 6 months every Friday he's been doing this for 6 months, which is how long it's been since OJ's father was killed with the coin. And so every Friday he basically sacrifices a horse and calls this ship down and it takes the horse. And so he wanted to then now invite people to be able to watch it. And so if you've seen the trailer, of course, I thought it was really interesting that it shows that scene in the trailer and it shows this lady with this veil over her face and she's all deformed, and it comes across as if that's going to be an alien or someone with the alien
or a bigger part of something, right? And I thought it was interesting that she turned out to just be his coworker from the show. She was the girl that you thought
died, right?
Yeah, the chimp bit her face.
Yeah, so she's just horrifically marred from the chimpanzee
in a wheelchair
event. And that was it about it. Yeah. There wasn't anything else other than just that. So the trailer itself, it wasn't lying to you.
No, but it made you in the movie.
It made you assume that it was part of the alien because she was that disfigured from it, right? And but it was demonstrating that reality that we like to think that we're higher and above in the animal control things, but how much damage animals can still do to us still too, right? When we try to control them and so then they're trying to get the ship to come down and take this horse. The horse is not moving or falling for any of this. And OJ he wasn't there yet. And it comes down and it just tornado sucks everything up. The entire stadium, all the people. And it was a weird, because all of a sudden now it was like the camera panned up with you, with the people.
And this is brutal.
Right?
So they got sucked into it. And like the movie also does start with like this like greeny blue square and all the names were in it. And it like kind of like moves a bit, right? And all the opening credits. Well, then it shows these people going up into this thing, and then they're in like it looks like intestines.
Yeah,
and they're just screaming, and they're bloodied, and they're just like.
And what's scarier is hear those things flying around. You can hear them screaming.
Yeah, and that's we were talking about the sound going on.
Yeah, and it was moving around the theater, screaming, right? So I love the twist that OJ figures it out, that it's not a ship.
Yeah.
It's an animal.
Yeah.
And I loved that idea because we always just assume that something flying around, it's got to be a ship and it's full of aliens. And for some reason, we are obsessed with the fact that they're going to come probe us.
Yeah.
Which I've always thought was absolutely ridiculous, as if that's the only way that they would learn anything about us. First of all, we think that they're here to only study us. Secondly, somehow our ass is the place that they're going to be probing. If they're going to learn anything about us, if they've come all this way and will abduct to learn, they're going to cut you open. They are not going to just shove something up there.
Well,
so like that whole concept.
That goes on that thing that I believe there's a lot more people that have closeted issues and they secretly want to get fucked. And they're like, well, if it's an alien,
it's okay.
Right.
And I can just claim that it was something that was horrific and traumatic. And it was forced upon me, but it wasn't actually rape. So, it's something like that.
It's a fetish.
Yeah. So I think it was interesting to hear that it was such a different take, that it's not just aliens in a ship, that it was a flying creature, like a beast type thing that was around.
A space whale.
Yeah.
Kind of like.
It's like a space jellyfish clam sand dollar type thing. And I really love that twist. I thought it was super interesting that it's actually eating people. It's not abducting people. Like, they are gone. And they caused a problem with it when they had put the decoy plastic like horse statue out there, and it ate that, and it ate the flags that were attached to it.
It got mad.
And it got mad because it
couldn't digest it.
All of a sudden eating plastic, right? Yeah. And so then everything changed with that. And then so the whole concept of it is just about animals and respecting them and learning how to deal with them. And you talk about the horse wrangler, like he had started out originally telling everyone to not look the horses in the eye or to not make the loud noises, and so then he figures the importance of the not looking in the eye, and then it turns into, if you don't make eye contact with it, it won't eat you, and that's how they're trying to survive then.
Yeah. And
so you take all that knowledge, and that turned out to be what was going to help them, versus all these like doomsday people that feel that we are hiding from these little alien people, right? So
I absolutely love the idea that it was something, it was a creature, because that really, when you think of science fiction movies, that's not really something that's done.
Yeah.
It didn't have any other agenda than it was just
just an animal. Yeah.
It was an alpha predator.
Yeah. It wasn't trying to take over anything it was just trying to exist.
Yeah.
And that was it. And it was territorial. And
right.
And we didn't have any explanation as to why it was there or what had happened or what did it get lost? Did it?
Yeah. And what I thought was cool was when started to suck, basically, it created little tornadoes. And it was like kind of a cool idea to be like, oh shit, like because tornadoes are still so unusual to us as what they are as a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Right. The idea that, the movie's kind of being like, events. Yeah, like all these weather events that happen, weird, could be caused by giant space.
So we have giant like aerial sand dollars in the Midwest,
right?
Flying around.
Because it's
maybe that's what's in Vancouver here when we had the weird tornado.
Yeah,
we have a space sand dollar.
Could be.
There you go. Where's our conspiracy theorist now?
Right?
It makes total sense.
But it was just such a cool, fresh take on the idea of the aliens.
Yeah.
Versus just the little angry LGMs that, show up and, try to take over. For some reason, they want to kill us all to take over our little dying planet.
Yeah, the thing that we're destroying,
right? So it was kind of cool to have something different. And there was no hive mind mentality. There was no, all the stereotypical science fiction tropes weren't there.
Yes.
Because it was actually more of a man against animal movie.
Which is why we now really put the connection to Jaws in there.
Yeah.
Because then it was really the alpha predator acting alone, angry, kind of, white whale type thing, right? So.
And then you have them trying to get the shot of it, to try to sell it versus like say they're not trying to kill it. They just want to get that shot. So it's that ragtag group of people coming together, and they end up getting this cinematographer because apparently he does a lot of documentary stuff and he's been able to get all these crazy wild shots. So while they're talking to him on the phone one time, there's a tagger fighting like a python right on his screen, right, that he's editing and all that kind of stuff. So they talk about how he gets the impossible, right, and even goes as far as like building his own camera without that can't.
It was a full non-electrical camera. Yeah. It's just a hand crank one, right? Because that's the problem, right? Is that everything they've been trying to do to film it then knocks the power out and recovered, right?
I love too when the characters would say nope.
Yes.
It was very predominant in all the scenes.
But it never felt forced.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was always well placed that it made sense where you're like, yeah, I would have said that too.
Yeah. When he's in the truck at that one point where he goes ahead and he looks out and he closes the door and goes, nope. It was just,
yep.
Because it was like you're not freaking out, but just got to sit here, just got to wait it out. Right. But when the house got coated in blood.
Holy shit, right?
When it got mad. And it just spewed out everything on them.
Well, then it was dropping all the bits and the jewelry and
the coins and keys sticking into the coming through the house and all that because it was angry. It was attacking.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, then because it had eaten all those people and it was raining outside anyway.
Yeah.
So then you have this giant thing that the rain had stopped. But then it was just spewing blood down all over the house.
But then it was like extra rain, like a veil of rain coming off of it.
Right.
And it just looked so cool.
Yeah.
Like, just and then because it took any battery power, it all kicked that off too. Then there was like these weird zones like where he was like driving and like the truck would stop and
I like the use of the music playing, speaking of sound as well. But they would have the music playing and then it would slowly die and slowly come back up, especially being the record. It would sound all warbled distorted and warbled, and so that again was another unique sound to it for that to come in and out, right? So
yeah, no, it was just, there's a lot of, real mesmerizing shots once it got into that aspect. And then at the end, say that the cinematographer, they've got some shots because they've been able to kind of like coax it out, right? And
I love their plan. It was quite elaborate to try to pull it out. But
so simplistic too, right? But like then he runs out there and it's the white whale moment, right?
Yep.
And you know, you get to experience him getting sucked in, and like there was one moment I full on expected the Fry guy, the angel guy, to get eviscerated.
Right?
I was just like anticipating the moment because he had gotten thrown into a fence and he was wrapped in barbed wire and he was trying to take it off, and I'm just like, it's just gonna like suck, and he's just gonna get we're gonna see him rip.
So I saw a couple things where I saw there was either gonna be that. The other thing I thought, because it looked more like he was almost wrapping himself in it, because then it held him down. He tagged himself to the ground.
I guess there's that too.
I thought that the beast was going to eat him, and then be all hurt.
Oh.
And was it going to cause a problem that way?
Yeah.
Did he make himself unsavory by wrapping him in it? And then, as I say, it was held to the fence, and then he ended up spitting it back out.
Yeah.
But it easily could have gone real sideways.
Like, I was expecting him to just get like torn in half or something. Right? But, as you said, there was the one moment though that you felt it got a little weird when the reveal of
the creature itself. Yeah. So, up until now, with it being all just the disc, and it was it would change the shape depending on the level it was at, and then of course when it would kind of go up on end when it was feeding, right?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it just came apart. And it turned almost into like this weird jellyfish moth thing. Like, it looked like a giant tarp. Mm-hmm. It was like shredded into pieces. It was definitely a weird design. Yeah. And especially with the little mouth thing that would come out that was obviously then showing, doing the EMP thing. It was like, it didn't look organic. Yeah. Right? Which it doesn't have to be. It can do whatever it wants, considering when we're thinking outside the box, we're talking about an alien, jellyfish in the sky. But then the scientific part of me is like, well, it's been eating a lot of things. Where does it go? Like, it just looks like there's nothing there. It's just like a veil, right? Yeah. And then I reminded myself, I'm talking about a giant jellyfish, and jellyfish really have nothing, and yet they can eat things, and they're transparent, and they still make things work. So, who knows? Right? Like, even like you think about birds and how much they puff out and change. Yeah. And you're like, how did that bird look like that? So it went from being concealed and wanting to be very sleek to being huge and scary. It was tentacly, and it was ginormous. It was like a giant kite. Yeah. But it went from barely taking up the screen to taking up the whole screen right? And but it showed it was in its moment of threatened. It was at its most vulnerable at this point. Yeah. Because it didn't do that until after he broke out the parachute. Yes. Right? And that would have been when he was on the horse, right? He opened up the parachute, and that sent it back like, what the fuck's this? Yeah, exactly. Right? So then you could tell that it was and it was like sucking up all those balloon people, and it wasn't getting food. Yeah. And it had gotten to that point, I think, it was getting desperate, right? It was angry, and because they were fighting a predator. Yeah. So that was, it was something where I had every time I would see it, it was a continual like discussion as to, this is weird. Okay, it makes sense. It's okay. Nope, it's weird. Yeah. Okay, it makes sense. And then so that was the only time where I felt a little bit like, okay, we can be done with this now, because then it started drawing out a little bit. But I think part of it was what was going on in my head, where I just kept kind of questioning it. Yeah. But then when I think about it after the fact, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, we talked about the idea of it getting bigger. Oh, that makes sense. Like, I didn't think about that, But I liked, I don't know if it was originally her plan or not, but letting loose the gigantic hot air balloon like person. And it worked for, the thing ate it. Yeah. And here's this gigantic balloon, and it was exploded inside of it. Yeah. And all I could think of was, what is that going to look like when it falls down to the ground? Like, how big is it going to be? And now, because it's all spread out, it's not, compact at all. Like, is it actually paper? Is it gooey skin flaps? Is it like, what material is it? Yeah. But we'll never know.
Right?
But they did get the picture, which I thought was an interesting way of doing it then. Very old school.
Yeah.
It was far enough away to not be an electrical impulse. And instantly...
It was a crank photo too, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it was from the amusement park, this like Polaroid shot, right?
Yeah.
But I can't believe it actually all worked out with that, right?
Yeah. I was full on when she was looking. I was actually not expecting to get that final shot of him on the horse.
Yeah, you were expecting.
I was expecting it just to go black.
Yeah,
because like it was
almost not almost the not idea
right
of what knowing, right?
Yeah, like because it almost would have gone, but at the same time, because he never really ever moves, he's just in the smoke.
I was wondering the same thing. Is he actually alive, or is she just seeing that?
Yeah. Is she just, because he was on the horse so heroic looking compared to how he always looked. Yeah, he was always so slumped, and he was actually up straight.
He was, because when, he definitely had that final, like, I'm looking out for you still.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, I'll be back idea.
Yeah, they never talked. There was no words.
But yeah, because when
there was all that smoke.
The last scene was very focused on her. I mean, it was everything about her face. It was, and yeah, when she saw him, he looked different.
Yeah,
I like the theory that he's not actually there. That now she's projecting her hero.
Yeah,
hero there
because he was it was in the western town and all that and the kind of thing.
Where was he? Was he under what? He was under the over yonder. That was the other thing too.
Yeah.
He was right underneath the over yonder.
Yeah.
And that was the sign for that area there, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting, almost like, is he saying he's on the other side of it? There's some questionable symbolism there for sure.
It easily could be that he actually did die.
I almost like that theory better.
I don't know. I'll have to see.
It's sad,
curious to see if there's anything said about it, right? As time goes on, but
interesting.
Because I was expecting it to have ended with, because it would have been,
because like, why wouldn't he have come over there? Why would he have sat in the dust?
Yeah, right.
And you're right. He had a totally different demeanor about himself.
Yeah. So
I like that theory.
But yeah, everything about the movie I really enjoyed. As I said earlier, it felt like it was boring, but it wasn't necessarily boring. It's just we've been trained to have so much bombasticity within our films that. And also, we've been trained so much to be told everything.
Yes.
Right? Where this here, we're not told anything, and we're still left with questions. And it's similar really with Get Out. It's similar with Us.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I felt that way with Us.
So it's just kind of, I really do enjoy the catalog he is creating with his films, because they're just very cerebral thrillers that chip away at the kind of the norm of what's happening, and he's been able to create 3 very different types of films, but they all still have that aesthetic of clean, crisp, engaging shots.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm really happy we were able to go see Nope. Hopefully you get the time to take a look at it.
Yeah.
Wow. It's worth it. It's worth the time.
Yeah.
Right. Even if we've spoiled a bunch, it's all kind of out of order. And
no, we spoiled. But if you decided to watch it and to listen and you haven't already seen it, even if you know all the story, it's still beautiful.
But you're still going to see it because, like, as much as you hear it, there's something different about seeing these shots.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because like,
still worth seeing.
We can talk, like, I think there's some movies out there that we can talk about and and spoil, and you watch and you kind of just like, okay, yeah, it's what they said. But like the cinematography in this is so pristine that nothing we have said
can do it justice.
Can do the film justice in actually seeing it. Well,
and because the plot of it is not it's not, nothing's wrong with it, but it's not the strongest point of the film.
Yeah.
The strongest, most exciting part of it is actually the way it looks and the way it feels.
Yeah.
That is what makes the story so interesting itself. Right?
You know, when you were saying that you were questioning the science and all that behind this thing opening up and all that, I was sitting there going, holy crap, they're getting weird. This is amazing.
Well, you know,
and
what?
like they didn't play it safe.
Well,
right?
And that was the thing that was interesting. As I say, I had a constant conversation with myself, right? Where I'm like, well, this is strange. Okay, well, this is weird. And then, okay, it's okay because we are still talking about a giant alien space thing and monster, and it's okay for them to be different because this is a different story, you know? And so I appreciated it and I liked it, but I also kept asking questions, right?
Yeah.
So, which was funny, right?
Yeah.
But it never was enough to be like, well, this is ridiculous or something, right? But yeah, I can see that for you though.
Right. That was just.
I got mesmerized by the little like square feeding box thing that
I think that was supposed to be. It was.
Yeah,
it was like hypnotic.
And if you think about that, so many creatures have I kept thinking of jellyfish because of all the different like layers and everything, and the flowiness of it. But it was like it was that hypnotic like pulse aspect, right? And it looked like it had layers that it kept shooting out, but then it was like bringing layers back in, so it was like moving around instead, and it was just very fascinating. Yeah. So it totally grabbed my attention. Oh yeah. So yeah, but I want to know what it's made out of. It looks like it's made out of streamers or something. So
Universal's actually bringing out Jupiter's Claim as a ride through feel.
Oh really?
They just built the little pop up town, and I don't know how if it's for Hornites or if it's for
the creepy little aliens running around. Yeah, that would be scary.
Or just a drive thing they're doing, or if it's for the Terror Tram or anything like that. But so yeah, but it's a full like replica of that little theme park town.
Oh wow!
That they created on the Hollywood backlot.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah. So Hornites also has the Black Phone as a maze.
Oh wow!
So it's a 2-part maze. It's another Blumhouse crossover. Okay. So half is the Black Phone, half is. I don't remember.
But nice. Yeah. Monday we'll get there again.
Yeah. Nice. So, but yeah, no, go see Nope. I dig it. Like it's in my top 5 for this year, and I don't think it'll be beaten out just because of how beautiful it was. Like Jordan Peele hit it out of the park for creativity with this one.
Yeah, very well done.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us again. Have a wonderful day.
Remember, stay rad, dudes.